Okay, great. Thanks very much. Back to Roger Kuckelman. Mr. Kuckelman, if one believes that Japan and the USA are overvalued and emerging economies have been somewhat jittery, we've seen what happened to the stock market in India, in Turkey, some of the other places a few weeks ago. Again, Europe seems to be an attractive place, and I'd like to hear your opinion about this.
Yes, I think that because of the low level of growth in Europe, one forgets that Europe is the richest area in the world. It's comprised of 500 million people with the highest standard of living, and it's an area where the potential growth and the potential market remain very attractive for the whole world. Of course, Europe has a negative side. It's like Japan. It's getting old. Management is in the hands of elderly people, and it's not good for the economy. But nevertheless, it's a huge market with a high level of standard of living, and therefore it should not be neglected. And you can see that with the proper management, like it happened in Germany, even if it has the same unpleasant side of having not enough youth in their country, they were able to inject in their economy what was necessary to achieve growth. So there is a huge potential, and I think it is again an attractive area.
Okay, thanks very much. Maximo Buch, you mentioned before the big gap between people who are educated and uneducated in your region. You mentioned 10% versus 46%. So what is the solution? One of the solutions, I'm assuming, is that you're trying to bring more people into the education system in your region, open up more colleges, give people more opportunities. How well are you coping with this?
Well, one of the reasons is when you look at the GDP percentage, how the regional GDP is split, you will see we went down from 19% industrial GDP to 14% industrial GDP. That happened because in the 2000s, when you look at the growth, the region grew by 2.8% per year, while Spain grew by 2.7%, so slightly more than the average. But when you split by sectors, 3.6% was construction and building, 3.2% other services, 2.2% agriculture, and 0.65% industry. So nobody was investing in industry because you made so much money by speculating with ground and with real estate that even industrial entrepreneurs went over to speculate with buildings. That's the origin of our current problems, because those unskilled people are people who worked in the building industry and now are jobless. So what we are doing, basically what we call re-industrialize, with the goals, we have the same goal as the European Union. You know, the European Union wants to have 20% industrial GDP in 2020. We have taken over the same goal, so we want to grow from 14 to 20%. How we do that? Obviously, training people to be innovative, generating more entrepreneurs. The more entrepreneurs, the more your industry grows, that's very obvious. Training people and showing people, and Israel is a great example, to make innovation. And innovation, I always tell our people, because we have a quite traditional industry in origin, innovation is not only good for high-tech and for very healthcare and this more modern, let's say, industries. It is fundamental also in basic industries, in agriculture, in food, in manufacturing, because through innovation we get higher productivity, differentiation of products, higher quality, and that's the way, really, to make the industry grow. Besides, we make also the tourism grow, because tourism is good for less skilled people. We attract more tourists, and especially resident. As was mentioned before, Europe is getting older, so we'll have more retired people. Retired people would like to be at a nice seaside to spend over the winter, and an old person that needs care generates for each old people who need care generate the opposite. 3 people who need care generate 2 jobs, which doesn't need to be very skilled. So that's the other way we get out of it.
Okay, very interesting. We spoke with you now about education, and I'd like to ask Mr. Vardanyan, you've devoted a lot of your time to educational projects such as Skolkovo and the Dilijan International School. Why have you chosen this, and what do you feel is the effect of these projects on the economy?
I will try to be very brief, but I think you're touching the key point of the today discussion about the future of the economy is coming about the people. The people is the main assets. I believe the world has changed. It's not anymore the land is critical. It's not about industrial assets. It's what kind of quality people you will have in your country. And the key question is coming. Do people trust that they can become successful in your country or not? Do they have a security, they feel their family and they feel secure in the system? Do they have good education, good health care? And the main point of the entrepreneurship is being yourself, taking out of the comfort zone. One problem in Europe is too comfort living. In Europe, it's too comfortable to live. You don't want to go out of the comfort zone. And the entrepreneurship usually needs to be out of comfort zone. This is why to go in emerging markets and doing something out of the boxes, be ready to fail and start again. It's becoming very critical psychological behavior, which we are missing now in some part of the developed world. And I think the critical will be for the future of any country, how well you can establish that education system will support this type of the behavior, will support this type of people who can really think out of the box. We really can think what they can fail and start again. We can think what they can do, whatever is possible. Nothing is impossible. And I think it's critical for Russia, because I was so proud. We raised $500 million, we built this school, and I want to say thank you to my Jewish friends who have been also very actively involved in this project. From Israel, we got some professor coming and teaching our negotiation skills. For example, negotiation skills we are teaching Professor Monty Crystal, who is a specialist in negotiating between Arab-Israel conflict. It's showing how global world is becoming, and I think the Jewish always been one of the first nations being very international and very global. I mean, taking advantage of being global in this type, going in all the other different countries and being successful, I think very critical for the future. That's why Russia, we're trying to build infrastructure for education in Armenia, and doing the same in my own home country, trying to establish this type of the international network with the different type of the attitude.
Thank you very much. You touched upon Armenia. You were born in Armenia, if I may just jump from Russia to Armenia. Not a huge country, 3.5 million people.
Yeah, it's a small country, and I'm born
World chess players, right? The number one in the world. Is that being translated to something else?
By the way, we've been surprisingly twice the world champion by a chess player, which is for small countries very. But one of the reasons why it's happened, because in the school it's obligatory from the first class. Kids studying the chess playing is a part of the way colloquium, okay? And this is, I think, very good example of showing when you invest the right way in education, you'll get something unique in results. Yeah, Armenia has a lot of similarity with Jewish. Again, we got the same problem with the genocide, we've been the same problem about the spreading around the world, and we've been very active in the diaspora, and we're trying to do a lot of helping our home countries. And it's a good model showing I'm always joking with the Jewish and Armenians being before Facebook, we already know how to do the network, social, between different. We've been first kind of nations between Facebook was established, and I hope this will be used as an advantage because again, the main assets, like I said, will be brain and the capacity to convert these ideas and information to the product, and who will be first will winner.
Okay, great. We have just a couple more minutes. Professor Leibling, what is your economic and real estate market forecast currently?
It is hard to imagine a European Union without Germany. And it's good to imagine a European Union without Germany. And it is also good to understand that Germany is not invulnerable. 10 years ago, Germany was the weak one among those that are considered now failed states. So let's be careful. But one element that we haven't mentioned is energy. And the energy policy in Germany is extremely risky. It is not based on common sense, it's based on political will. And that is usually a recipe for disaster. Now, if you look at the United States, for example, it's just done the opposite. The United States will be, exceeding Russia in energy exports in the next few years, probably even in my lifetime, I hope so. What impact that will have on industry, on creativity, and on real estate is easy to imagine.
Okay, thank you very much. Last question, really quick, Micha, because we're running out of time. Israel, is this a hub is this a gateway to other parts? Do we see people coming to invest in Israeli companies because they feel that this is a footprint to places like China and India and hopefully in the near future, Malaysia and some of these other countries?
Well, it's an old vision of Israel economy to be a central location that combines business development from various parts of the world. Israel as a springboard for business in the East and in the West. And we have seen the phenomena of Far Eastern companies buying into Israeli companies, not only because of the technology. Of course, there are good companies with good technologies, but they look at them as their first base on the way to the West. And this is true about Chem China buying Maktashim. This is true about the Indian company Jain buying Na'andan irrigation. It is true about Chinese Fusun buying Alma Laser. It is true about the Indian Sun buying Taro Pharmaceuticals. All those examples are transactions that took place when the Far Eastern buyer, much larger company, bought the Israeli company to become the business development center to the West. The same is true about Israeli companies that need to make acquisitions in the Western countries to have their outfront platforms in Europe and in America. Europe is closer. It's a very important market to Israel. You'll never be able to take advantage of your good technologies if you are not there.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much. I'd like to thank Roger Kuckelman, Minister Maxime Abuch from Valencia, Spain, Mr. Ruben Vardanyan, Professor Reibling, and Micha Avnimelech. Thank you very much for participating in this panel.